going to learn how to calculate simple interest and use the future value formula. To review skills dealing with decimals, when you divide, we can just put this in the calculator. 4 divided by 0.3. It's 13.3 repeating, or you could say 13 and 1/3. Solve the following equation for x. So if you want to solve it, go back to how you solve equations. You have to isolate the x. So you look at what is happening to x. It's being multiplied by parentheses m plus n. So the opposite of multiply is divide. So we can divide by parentheses m plus n. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So these cancel, and I'm left with just x equals t over m plus n. And you can leave the parentheses there, or you can take it off, just as long as t is over the top of both of those. All right, simple interest. Our words. Interest is the dollar amount that we get paid for lending money or pay for borrowing money. The amount of money that we deposit or borrow is called your principal. The amount of interest depends on principal. The interest rate, which is given as a percent and varies from bank to bank, and the length of time for which the money is deposited. Simple interest involves interest calculated only on principal. So here's our formula. I've seen this before. Interest equals PRT, so it's principal times rate times time. Rate has to be as decimal. So remember, let's say we have 1%. You could write as 1 over 100, or you could write it as 0.01. So you always want to move it 2 places. You can look at it as DP. From decimal to percent, you move it to the right. From percent to decimal, you move it to the left. So since it was percent to decimal, we moved it to the left 2 places. So we have our first example. We deposit $2,000 in the savings account, rate of 1.2%. So find the interest at the end of the year, first year. And so 2,000 is your principal. Your rate is 1.2%. And it just says 1 year. So that's your time. So I equals 2,000. We need to write our rate as a decimal, so 1.2. Let's move it over 1, 2. So I'm going to put parentheses. So we had to move it 2 places, so it's 0.012 times time times 1. So you put that in the calculator and multiply it out. And times 1, that's not going to do anything, but equals 24. So that's the amount of interest that will be earned over the course of 1 year. Here's another one. This one is someone took out a loan for 2 years. So principal, 2 is our time, 8% is our rate. So I equals PRT. So I equals 1,800. The rate, I put M8, moved over 2 places, 0.08 times the 2 years. $288. So the interest on the loan is $288. So since it's on a loan, that's the amount of money in addition to the loan that you will pay back, or have to pay the bank. Okay, future value. Future value means the principal plus the interest. So we could find the interest and then add it in, or we could use the formula. So let's say we want to find the future value. So that's principal. So A is your future value. So I'm going to do it on this one. So since I've already found the interest, I'm going to go ahead and just add these up. And then I'm going to use the formula to show you that they are the same. 1,800 plus 288. So future value, or the amount of money that will have to be paid back, is $2,088. So if I use the formula, I'm going to plug in P, 1 plus the rate 0.08 times a 2. We can put it straight into the calculator. I'm going to do it like that. I still need to close out my parentheses, so be careful with that. So yeah, it's the same thing. So you could do it either way. You can add them together after you find interest, or just use this formula. They are the same. So here's an example where it says the loan is 1,060, 6.5% is the interest rate for 3 months. Find the loan's future value. So this is a little different from the previous ones because normally we have 6 years. Well, now we have 3 months. So you've got to do it as a fraction or as a decimal. So 3 months, there's 12 months, so 3 out of 12 is our time. Our rate is 6.5. He is 1,060. So our rate is, we move the decimal over 2 places. So it was here, and you go 1, 2, so 0.065. 3 months, 3 out of 12. So how'd they get to 1/4? Well, you reduce 3 out of 12, it's 0.25. Or if you're using the calculator like mine, you can hit math, frak, enter. That's 1/4. So you could use the decimal or the fraction. If it's repeating or anything like that, you definitely want to use the more precise, which would be your fraction. So it says use a future value. So A equals, so P 1 plus RT. So principal 1,060, 1 plus the rate, 0.065, times the time, 1/4, or 0.25. So we can put that in 1,060 times 1 plus 0.065 times 1/4, and 1,077 point, I'm going to round it to 3. Go up to the next cent. Okay. Next one is very similar. So you can go ahead and work that out, and I'll show you the answer in a second. Oh, no, it's not the same. Sorry. Because it gives you, you'll promise to pay back that, what it is a simple interest rate to pay back. So it's not the same. I thought it was. So A equals P 1 plus RT. So it looks like we have what we borrowed, our principal, 1 plus, we don't know the rate, so that's our T, time 6 months. So 6 out of the 12, which is half, or 0.5. I'm going to put in 0.5. Okay. And it says you're going to pay back $2,655. So another $155. So we're actually going to solve this for R. So what we can do is, because we have the variable in here, we want to get rid of this whole parenthesis times 2,500. So what we can do is we can divide by 2,500 on both sides. You want to use the full decimal amount if you can. That way you can have the most accurate answer. It's 1.062. And then just bring this down. 1 plus R times 0.5. And I took away the parentheses because there's nothing being multiplied. All right, so we need to solve for X or R. We're going to subtract 1 on both sides. Remember, you line up your decimal where we subtract. So that's actually 1 minus that. Negative 0.62. It wouldn't be negative, it'd be positive, sorry. I did it the opposite way. Okay. I should have done 1.062 minus 1, and I would have gotten positive. All right, and then our last thing is this is being multiplied times R, so we're going to divide by 0.5. R equals 0.124. So to find it as a percent, we'd move the decimal over 2 places. It's DP, so this is decimal to percent. 4.4% is the rate. More example. Determine the present value that must be invested. So now we're given the future amount. So remember our formula. So 6,000. Principal, we don't know what that is. It says determine the present value. So that's our unknown. So we're going to leave it as P, or you can put it as X, plus R, I'll move it over 2 places, would be 0.045 times 5. So this is a little different. We have our variable here, so we're going to divide by what, well, we need to simplify this first and then divide by it. So 6,000 equals P times, go ahead and do what's in parentheses, 1 plus 0.045 times 5, 1.225. And now I want to get P by itself. So now I divide by 1.225. So those will cancel. 6,000 divided by 1.2. So our P is 4,897.96. Because we would need to round that. All right, last example. In order to start a small business, a student takes out a simple interest loan for $2,000. So that's P. For 3 months, so that's your time, at a rate of, let's move this over, that's our rate. So how much interest must the student pay? So we can do the I equals PRT. So I equals, principal is 2,000, times our rate, 0.0875, times time, so 3 out of the 12, which is 1/4, or 0.25. You can use either one. Okay, so 2,000 times 0.0875 times 0.25. 43. So the interest is 43.75. Says what is the future value? Well, we could use the other formula, or we can just add it. $2,000 plus the 43.75. So it's our future value A is 2,043.75. Interest is a 43. You could have also, I'm going to show you my answer key, did this formula, plugged it in, and come up with the same answer. That is it for simple interest.